Hey everybody, Todd Rhodes from chemistrystaffing.com here for your Friday, April 3rd daily church leader briefing. Just a way for me to kind of process some of the things I'm thinking as we all kind of endure and lead our way out of this coronavirus crisis. A few news stories here today that kind of caught my attention. The first is out in first couple actually out in Sacramento, California area. There's a church called Bethany Slavic Missionary Church. It's a Russian immigrant church out in the Sacramento area, and authorities there say that church is the source for at least 71 COVID-19 infections. The church is still meeting. They're not meeting in their church building, but they are still meeting in people's homes. It's got the authorities pretty rattled out there. And again, the authorities are just saying the members of this individual church are not being very responsible. They've already spread it to at least 71 people as the reason that they've been able to track as a result of their church services, both a couple weeks ago in the church building and then now into homes. So that's kind of item number two. Item number two, it gets even worse in Sacramento. And again, these are all news reports, and I think all of the news tends to be hopefully as truthful as possible, but there tends to be some sensationalistic news out there. But according to this story at KCRA.com, again out of Sacramento, authorities in Sacramento County are saying that they're saying one-third of all COVID-19 cases in Sacramento County are tied to church gatherings. A third. So again, you've got people that are churches that are kind of being defiant, even though this seems to be the case. A couple of other churches that I read in the news, Awaken Church in Jonesboro, Arkansas, is holding services. They are actually doing some promotion that says that Jesus died with COVID-19 so you don't have to bear it. This is just a little out there for me. Their advertising says the first death of COVID-19 actually happened 2,000 years ago. Okay. This is what they say. The Bible tells us that Jesus took on every sin, sickness, and every disease. Jesus bore it so you wouldn't have to. Okay? For us to not have services due to a virus would be for us to go against our extremely strong convictions of the power of God to protect and the power of God to heal. Totally believe that God can protect, totally believe that God can heal. But this is one side of the story. The other side of the story is we've got 71 people in Sacramento County as a result of a church meeting that now have this virus. So those are the two different sides of it. And one other story on kind of this side of things, Rodney Howard-Browne, you remember him? He's the pastor from down in Tampa Bay that was arrested earlier this week after he would not close down his church services. Well, he's had a change of heart, kind of. Not really. He is closing down his church. It's a mega church down in Tampa Bay area. He is closing it down this week, but this is what he's telling the media. He's not doing it to protect anybody in his church from COVID-19, but he's doing it to protect his congregation from a tyrannical government. Okay? These things just kind of make me really kind of cringe. Am I the only one? Does it make everybody cringe just a little bit? It seems that everyone that's speaking for evangelicals or for Christianity right now are the people that I don't want speaking for me. And it seems like it's always like that in a crisis, but in a crisis it's even worse. Again, I've been trying to urge everyone, all the church leaders I talk to, is just to be responsible. To be prudent, to listen to what your government officials are asking you to do with the social distancing. Another really interesting thing that I found was on a website called Infection Control Today. It was an article written by a doctor, and the headline caught my eye. I'll have a link to it here. It says, churches could be the prime spreader of the COVID-19 virus. And that kind of caught my eye, but here's what he said. He said, if approximately 50% of individuals catch this virus from asymptomatic carriers, that means people that don't show any symptoms, one must ask, how are these carriers spreading the virus? In other words, if I have the virus and I don't show any symptoms, I can still spread it to you. How does that happen? He said, well, it's not really that much coughing and sneezing. The answer is probably the aerosolization. I'm not saying that word right, but where the virus can float in the air and be picked up later by an unsuspecting person or a passerby. That's why they're telling us to stay 6 feet away from each other, right? So the virus has been observed to survive in an aerosol form for up to 3 hours. And what this doctor says, thus, singing and even like church choirs may be the worst practice that one can participate in. So if you think of yourself, if you're at a sporting event or a restaurant or a church service and you're really close to other people and you're sitting there breathing the same air for up to an hour, and this virus can be in aerosol form, it can get into the air, particularly when people are singing, which we do a lot of that in church. This is what this doctor is saying, that churches could actually, being in a big group of people that ironically seem to be singing, might not be the best place for you. Matter of fact, it might be one of the worst places you could be, probably worse than going to a Walmart and walking back and forth. You're actually sitting with someone and singing in a large group where you're all contained together. So that I thought was really interesting. But again, it's these stories, these negative stories of kind of non-compliant churches and pastors that are trying to be sensationalistic and calling the government tyrannical and all of that kind of thing that kind of make all of the national headlines, and it really does none of us any good. I wish, and I'll try and do that more this week. There's going to be some great great stories to share this next week, I think, as we're coming up on Easter with some of the really cool and innovative things that churches are doing for Easter. But I hope that some of the press will actually pick up on some of that stuff too. But anyway, frustrating. I'm frustrated with some of the news stories that are coming out. Speaking of innovative things and things that are positive, Rick Warren has announced that he's organizing an online worldwide prayer vigil for pastors, and this is going to happen on Monday, April 6th. And I'll put a link to that down in here as well, that you can go and check this out. It's going to be 90 minutes. It's for church leaders to pray specifically for next Sunday, the Easter Sunday. It's going to be simulcast in 12 languages. It's really it's an online worldwide prayer event, and it's, I think, probably one of the first of its kind. So it's very innovative. Hats off to Rick Warren. He's got a lot of other well-known pastors that are helping him and partnering with him to do that, but I would encourage you to check that out. That's going to be on Monday. If you have any questions or anything that's kind of bugging you, you just want to kind of have an outlet for, feel free to don't leave your bad comment in the comment section, but do send me an email. It's todd.rhodes RHOADES @chemistrystaffing.com. I'd love to hear from you and what you and your church is going through during this time, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much.